Good evening and welcome. I am Chaotic Eternity, and I am here to give you all a mini interview on myself. So, for those of you who don't know who I am Chaotic Eternity on most socials. And so, who am I? I'm a paranormal investigator. I am a psychic medium. I am a spirit vessel collector of sorts, a spirit keeper. So tonight I'm just going to give you some background on myself, how I became invested in the paranormal, and where I'm going, I suppose. So how I got into the paranormal, well, that is, I don't know, a long story, a short story, many stories. As a little girl, I had always been really sensitive to the paranormal, to spirits, and I was always shut down, we'll just say. I had grandparents who had a home that always had something in it that I could sense. And after the death of my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, I had my very first paranormal experience. 10 years old, broad daylight, moving from my dad's shop through the backyard. My grandmother, who had passed, came to me in a full apparition, as you see me on the camera. I saw her blue dress that she was buried in. I could see the details of the makeup on her face, down to the way her hair was fixed. She appeared before me. She smiled at me. She crossed my path and then walked through the fence. As many of you have guessed, at 10 years old, I didn't know how to handle the situation, so I freaked out. And I ran into the house. My mother worked third shift, so she was asleep. And you bet your buns, I woke my mother up. I had found out that besides the fact that I had saw my grandmother as a full apparition, many of my family members, aunts, uncles, cousins, they were having dreams of her. So she was visiting them in other ways. And the most comforting thing of it all was that my mom did not discredit what I had just witnessed, what I had just gone through. She validated me. And for me, at 10 years old, it was one of the most mind-bending experiences ever. Hello, Rai. Welcome in. So, after seeing my grandmother as a full apparition at 10, I, of course, was completely drawn in by the paranormal. And my family, aunts, uncles, and my mom told us stories about the local lady they called Bloody Mary. Yes, in Nebraska we have our own Bloody Mary legend or story. Um, a little different telling than the traditional Bloody Mary story, but they would tell us the story of Bloody Mary and Pigman, and they would tell us stories about their own paranormal experiences, like my aunt and my uncle, because my uncle was in the military, and my mother shared with me her experience with having a PK manifestation. If you don't know what a PK manifestation is, that is manifesting your own poltergeist. So the theory is, a person, most often it's a teenager, but it can be anyone, has such a buildup of psychic energy. And usually it's induced by stress or something going on in your life that you don't realize you're doing this, but then you manifest a poltergeist in your house using your own psychic energy. And it can escalate with the stress in the house or with the stress going on with the person who has manifested the poltergeist. And my mom experienced this at the age of 16. And she didn't realize what she was going through. She wasn't living at home with her parents at the time. She had been pregnant and recently married. So she had to learn through people living with her roommates what she was going through and how to deal with it. And it was really scary for her. And so much so, she is, in the time where the movie The Exorcist was released. So, having seen that movie, it scared her. So, I grew up, I wasn't allowed to watch that movie. My mom, she has abilities that she had completely shut down and shoved away after all of that. So I feel like if she would have had the right mentorship, the right people in her life who could have explained things in a certain way, she could have done so much with her own psychic abilities. So the paranormal has been a huge thing, a huge foothold in my life. I dealt with bullying as a child, and that's what triggered me to shut down a lot of my own abilities. And with that came with, you're a kid, you're growing up, you're more interested in friends, and, middle school, high school came around. And then adulthood, other traumatic things, you go through. And then my dad passed away. And I think with that traumatic event, I started to really embrace more of a my spiritual awakening. I've had a few of them. But it wasn't just that traumatic event. I went through another more personal one within my own marriage that really just triggered me to find another path that I needed to go down, because I had to deal with a lot of emotions and pain and things to heal myself, because the person that I wanted to talk to most was no longer with me. And then I started to have these moments where I woke up to a man's voice saying my name in my ear at my old home. We moved here. I woke up again to a man saying my name in my ear again, and there was nobody in our home. I started waking up to figures walking through my bedroom from the front of my husband's side of the bed, and they would cross over and walk through our bedroom into the master bathroom and disappear. I was the only one that could see them. And my home is not haunted, by the way. And this was all before I started collecting spirit vessels. I've been told over and over again through other psychic mediums, just either in passing or through readings, that I have abilities. I've blocked them off. It's nobody else. It was me who did it. I've been told that I should work with energy of some sort. I've been asked if I worked with energy just by them touching my hands. I have been on probably one of the craziest journeys of my life. And then 3 weeks ago I had a reading done because I was told to have a reading done. Not by a physical person, but by spirit, because I do channel now. And this was before I really started embracing listening. And when I finally sat down with this person, she was a medium. She straight called me out and said, "You need to be channeling messages. It's your job. That's what you're meant to be doing." She goes, "You work with a lot of spirit. You're really spirit in tuned." She goes, "You can be channeling anything and everything." She goes, "You have the ability to do it. And they have been trying to push you to do it." So that pushes me towards past the paranormal investigator part of me to now I am not just a paranormal investigator, I'm a psychic medium. So in the paranormal world, where I have all these tools like the EMF, K2 meter, you've got your REM pods, you've got your music boxes, you've got your dowsing rods, you've got the pendulum. The point of using the Estes method with the spirit box. When I go and do investigations and I try to use certain tools, I find that I'm being told not to. I am being told that I don't need these tools, or they simply do not work for me anymore. Because I don't need a spirit box to hear the voices of the spirits. I don't need to use the Estes method, which is just putting on a headset, blindfolded, with the spirit box to hear the voices of spirits. Why people ask you questions, because I can simply just hear them. I don't need dowsing rods, and I don't need a pendulum to confirm questions, because I can hear the voices of spirits. I don't need a K2/EMF reader to find the energy of spirit, because I can feel it and I can find where they're at in a building. I can find haunted objects. The moment I walk into a thrift store or an antique store or wherever you walk into a secondhand place that's selling objects, I know when somebody is trying to lie to me because spirit rats them out. My son, who's 10, has tried to do that. That's that precognitive, that claircognizance. It's been wild. So, Chaotic Eternity, that is me. Yes, I have tons and tons of spirit vessels. I have adopted a bunch. A small amount of them I have adopted. But a lot of them I have found in antique stores or thrift stores. I've picked up a box from somebody selling them on the marketplace, not with the intention of finding them just because they may be, haunted. But they actually have attachments to them. Well, thank you. I have stood in front of an antique store searching to find a glass object that had an attachment to be called out by the owner of the store, because I stood there for 20 minutes trying to pinpoint which object it was. I have been completely clear and honest with everybody who's ever asked me why. And why are you standing there? Why did you stand there for 20 minutes? Boy, you were standing there for a long time. Yes. You want to know why? Because you have an object in the front of your store that has a spirit attachment to it. And then, you know what it did? He's like, oh yeah, you want to hear a story? When I first moved into this store, we had all sorts of crazy stuff that happened. But since we've been here for a long time, the energy has died down. People are so open to sharing their paranormal experiences when you are. At least that's been my experience. We may have a guest that may join us. She's furry, and she's 16 years old, and she's staring at me. She's a cat. But it has been truly wild. I have been living with these spirits now for, just under a year now. I hear knocks on my walls. I have seen an apparition. One of them has manifested themselves in front of me. I've nearly walked into her. It was pretty wild. I have been touched. I woke up to one of them tracing their finger down the bridge of my nose. She's right here. My kitty Tigger's right here. I have one that touches me regularly. She likes to play with my hair. It's always the same spot. It's right here. It's like tickling. It's a tickling feeling. I have one that shakes my bed if I forget her anywhere in the house at night when it's bedtime. She's a child spirit. She has woken me up. One time I forgot to set my alarm for work. She has woken me up. And I chose to ignore her shaking my bed the one time. I heard her knock on the wall. I had gotten up to go to the bathroom. I heard her knock on the wall. I ignored it. She shook my bed. I ignored it. And the next thing she did, and this was during the summertime, this past summer, I heard running in the hallway just outside my door. My children were asleep. And in that moment, I decided it was a good idea to check the time on my phone because my alarm hadn't gone off. It was 10 minutes past my alarm when it should have gone off. And you bet your britches, I thanked her because I knew exactly who it was. Little Miss Penelope. I have a child vessel, their brother and sister have one. If I set them up away from leaning against something, she will knock her vessel down. I have a vessel that will make your face go numb on one side. I have I just have so many. So many. One of them has their lights on behind me. I have one vessel I found at an antique store who I wasn't actually going to purchase. I kept looking below her to pick out a different vessel, which I did not purchase, by the way, because this one shook her shelf. She formed a cold spot next to me, and then she kept shaking the shelf over and over and over again until I finally decided that I would take her home with me. I have been asked if I would ever sell any of my spirited vessels. And in all honesty, I don't think I ever could unless they asked themselves personally to be rehomed. I thought about it being a side business, but because I find all of these vessels on my own and I become attached to them, I don't look at them as just a spirit or just a vessel. They are people. They just don't have bodies anymore. They all have stories to be told. They have shown me visions. My first visual was given to me by my Native American doll that I found. It is inhabited by a Native American child who admittedly is very standoffish with me because I am white. Because I am the first white person she's ever encountered. She's a very old spirit, so to speak. So she's from a different time. And her people just right at the time of when white settlers were coming over and invading. So I'm scary. I mean, she's a little more comfortable with me now. But she gave me a full visual of exactly, they do need to be seen and heard. And that is part of why they do choose me. I was also told that I find a lot of children spirits because I am something to do with my astrology, where am I, my signs and my birth chart. I'm very grounded. Also being a mother, they just are attracted to my energy in that way. But I don't just find children spirits. I have found a gentleman who was enlisted military. I have women. I've got elderly people I have found. I have a gentleman who I found in a trinket box. I found being sold with oddities. But their stories do need to be told. And with a lot of paranormal investigators, especially when you're going to locations, typically everybody wants to ask the same questions over and over again. So you get a lot of the same groups, not the same groups, the same questions from different groups. How did you pass? Are you still here? Same, whatever. I don't push for how certain spirits have passed. If they want to share that information with me, that is to their own discretion. Now, I have had a few share that information with me. In time they have given me, I have gotten visions with them as well, with my abilities having opened up more, being a psychic medium. And especially with some of my younger children's spirits, it's been like they give you a flash of an image, and it's just like, it's so devastating and sad, because some of them they don't quite understand, because it's like one moment they were just sat down, and the next they are now a spirit. Unless you're a 8-year-old and you've gone through something like fire, and when they share that moment with you and they share the sheer panic and how they couldn't get out, how they yelled for help, it's so heart-wrenching, because not only do I get those visions, but I get the emotions. Now let's move past channeling for my spirits and channeling for life people. I have channeled loved ones who've passed for people I've never met, because I'm told that's what I meant to do, is to channel messages for people, to help people heal. I have practiced channeling, and I have connected to people's loved ones using tarot, not in the traditional sense of using tarot, but just to help kind of connect. But to really practice without it is something I want to do. But I have connected with people's loved ones through the internet, through their energy, long distance. I have seen somebody's significant other raising their arm to them in a not so kind way through this person's grandmother that I was channeling, and I felt her pure rage. She was so angry because her granddaughter was dealing with somebody who was not treating her very well, and she was just putting up with it, so to speak. And I channeled this girl's father who passed away from, I don't know if he had I think it was lung cancer or pneumonia. He had something. He had fluid around his lungs. He made me embody the last gasps of him gasping for air. And then she explained to me that she had to help him, like, literally walk him through the last couple of breaths he took. That was a lot of, like, emotion and, like, energy. But I've also channeled people who are so mild and meek and, like, very only speak when they want to be, you know, when they had something to say to this person. So, in the paranormal world, I like to investigate. I like going to places. Yeah, I like to use some tools. But I do it to show the other investigators what I am feeling. I literally just went to Edinburgh Manor in Iowa. And I was watching we had like a group of 7 of us. And we were down in the basement. And I knew we had somebody following us, spiritually following us. And I had my K2, or my EMF, for those of you who don't realize it's called a K2 meter. And I was like, oh, I found you. And it would light up to yellow. And then the spirit, it was the maintenance man, by the way. He would move a few feet forward, and then I'd go, oh, he's right here, and I found him again. And then he'd move like a few feet to like the right or whatever, and I'd put my K2 over where he was at again, and then he'd like, but he was following the group because we had a gentleman and he was taking pictures. And I was like, you guys, you have someone following you. You have it's the maintenance man. He's following you guys. And then when the maintenance man realized I could hear him, he had a full-blown conversation with me. He was telling me that they've let this place go, and, you know, look at these walls, the paint is peeling, the floors need to be mopped, and I worked here for so long, and blah blah blah, and look, they're not taking care of the building, and it's just falling apart. And I was just like, I hear you. And then he followed us upstairs, and he hung out with us, and it was pretty cool. They didn't really play with a lot of our equipment, though. They didn't want to play with our equipment. And then I slept in the building. And then I told them, because I put my cot up in a room on the first floor, and I said, you guys have to let me sleep. Please don't mess with me. I didn't get messed with all night long. I woke up at 6:30 in the morning. I went to bed at like 2 something, and I woke up at 6:30. I had to go to the bathroom, because you have to leave the building to the bathroom. And I heard, she's awake. I said, guys, I have to go to the bathroom. I'm not awake yet. So I got up, I left the building, came back in. I said, I'm going back to sleep. Please don't bother me. I sleep with noise canceling earbuds in, because if I hear any noises, all I'm going to do is focus on the noises in the building, and then I'm not sleeping. They let me sleep. I got back up at 9:30. I took my noise canceling earbuds out, and I said, okay guys, I'm awake now. You can do whatever you want to do. And as soon as I said that, I hear tap, tap, tap. You hear things start moving around in the room with me. There's nobody in the room with me. Very respectful spirits at Edinburgh. I'm just saying. You just gotta communicate with them. They just want to be communicated with. I mean, they try to say some things through necrophonic to be scary. But I think they're just so used to everybody bringing those ITC apps, and they say like certain words that I don't like to repeat. I don't like certain words that you'll hear other paranormal investigators repeat on other channels, and they get all like crazy about. If you get my drift, but there's nothing but amazing energy at Edinburgh. So if you haven't been, I highly recommend. But yeah, it's what I have been experiencing and going through this past year and a half has been absolutely amazing. And I got invited out to Edinburgh by another paranormal team out of Minnesota. They wanted to collab with me, and they want to continue to collab with me. I want to collaborate with other paranormal teams for the experience, to learn from them. And it's cool. Like, let's learn from each other. All right? I've been on other podcasts. I just recorded for a local radio show. I'll let you guys know when that drops. I kind of want to address this, but I commented on a Big Time Paranormal Investigators YouTube video last week, and their moderator made the comment, so-and-so doesn't collab, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Basically saying I need to grow my channel because they won't collab with me unless I have a huge YouTube channel. I don't think that's cool. I would never let a moderator or anybody speak for me in that manner. I don't care how many followers you have. I don't care how many clicks you have. If you ask me to come collab with you and you're a paranormal investigator, heck yeah, let's do it. You want to see what I'm about in life, in real time? Let's do it. But yeah, I'm not trying to be somebody who's trying to make money off of it. Like, I'm sorry, but there's so many people out there, they're too busy trying to set up their cameras, and they're trying to get the perfect shot. That's not me. I want to be immersed in the investigation. I want to feel the energy. I want to hear the taps. I want to hear the voices from far away. You know what I'm saying? I'm being touched. I'm currently being touched right now. It tickles. My cat's eating cat food now. Anyways, I think that a lot of people lose touch with what it's really about. Like, why? Why do some of these spirits stay behind on our plane? Like, or have some of them have, okay, like an instance of my father, I know he's crossed over, but he still comes and visits me. I channel him all the time. My dad has become a spirit guide. Oh, I'm being touched. But so in relation to these buildings, have some of them crossed over? Do they like to just keep visiting these buildings? Are some of them stuck in these buildings? Do they feel like they're stuck in these buildings? Are they being trapped in these buildings by other dominating spirits? Like, let's ask the questions. Let's do the research. Let's do the investigating. Like, why are we trying to make it entertainment? Why are we trying to make them perform? Spirits don't perform, guys. My vessels, my spirits here, they do not perform. Like, I can see here, and I will do channeling, which I will be doing one tomorrow. But they're not going to perform. They're not going to turn their lights on when I ask them to. I'm not always going to get the results that I want. But I tell them that they're not for my entertainment. They're not for your entertainment. They can touch the K2 if they want to. They can turn their little spirit lights on if they want to. I'm going to tell you something. They don't like my REM pod, and they told me because it's annoying. The sounds are annoying. They don't like it. I bought these Halloween decorations from the Dollar Tree. They got little sensors. They play with those things more than any of my paranormal tools that I've spent more money on. No joke. So, and I like to debunk. I like debunking. I like some of the debunkers on YouTube. I like that a lot of them are paranormal investigators. I don't care for the paranormal community drama. Yeah, I kind of follow it. I like to read about it. I like to kind of know what's going on. And I do have my opinions about certain things. Am I going to openly talk about a lot of it? Probably not, because I really don't want to open that can of worms. And unless you say something that's going to really irritate me, and I really have to say something, then maybe I will. But I like to just, I don't know, I like to keep it real. And I have to show you my cat because she's staring at me, and I feel like it's an obligation. Oh, no. Ow! She's going to make herself known. Come here. She's all, and she scoots around. Come here. You want to show yourself? Yes, ma'am. Come here. This is Tigger. Say hi. Hi. Say, I don't know how to keep my claws in my paws. I'm all about my claws. Applause for my claws. For they never stay in my paws. Yeah, I rhymed that, you guys. More than my pretty gaddies. You say, I'm a kitty cat treat. Junkie. Yes, ma'am. I'll kiss you, but I get hair in my mouth. Yes, sir, I am too. Do you need internet on your Chromebook right now? Why? Do you have homework to be doing? Then maybe you should be asking your father this instead of me while I'm currently live. Yes. You know, being a parent never ends. Okay. You can put signs on the doors all you want every day. All day. And if you're a mother, it just never ends. They just ignore it. So that is my son, and he will talk to me through the door anytime I'm live. So I don't know about you guys, but if you have kids, did school start for you? My kids started school last week, so. My 13-year-old is very much into the paranormal. She wants to go hunting with me sometime. I don't like calling it hunting. Investigating. I don't like ghost hunting. I don't like that terminology. It's paranormal investigations. But with her, I have to tell her, you're not quite ready yet. Plus, a lot of places you have to be 18 or older, obviously. But you need to learn to be more respectful. You need to know how to can your attitude, because she's definitely that teenage attitude. And she gets lippy with me. I don't know. She's not as easy as my oldest was. And and she's not quite ready to be serious. I think paranormal investigation takes like a level of seriousness. There can be some fun to it. Oh, definitely lots of fun. We had fun at Edinburgh. We had some great conversations about breakfast foods. We had a child spirit come through. We were talking about bacon and sausage, pancakes and waffles, and we were using the Necrophonic app on airplane mode, by the way. And we were in the boiler room, and we were asking about breakfast, and we said something about pancakes, and no one else came through except for the little girl, and she was like anybody in here would like to have pancakes, and you heard, I do. And then we asked about French toast, it went dead silent. Nobody cares for French toast at Edinburgh Manor. Yeah, they're spirits. I don't like calling them ghosts, but they sure think it's funny to play with my ghosts decorations from the Dollar Tree. I don't know if it's just kind of a ha-ha funny thing for them. But they're fun. I think it's my children's spirits that play with them here most, but some of them turned a little. I went through and I checked all their batteries and their little spirit bullet lights, or balloon lights. A lot of people know them as balloon lights. Some of them batteries were dead, so I had to put new batteries in them, and now some of them are turning their lights on, and we are happy again. So how did I get into spirit vessels? My very first haunted vessel or spirit vessel and my haunted doll I connected with, I was at my friend's house. She was laying down taking a nap because she lives an hour away from me, so we were gonna go do karaoke, and I was just browsing through Etsy or whatever. Yes, you can get spirit vessels on Etsy and eBay and Vinted and Poshmark and whatever. So if you do think about adopting, I highly recommend you read reviews and such for shops. But anyways, I was just browsing through, just looking at these dolls, you know. It was just something. I was just whatever. You know, you like window shopping, but online, right? So I was just looking, whatever, and I kept looking at this one doll. And I've looked at her like several times before, and I had her on like a list because, you know, you make lists. And you're really not looking to like buy anything now, but you like put it on a wish list. And as I was looking at her, I smelled like a banana liqueur, which was really, really weird because my friend doesn't keep any sort of like spirits in her home. And I was like, it's like smelling, like I could smell it. So I'm like, I'm smelling my shirt because I wear frankincense and myrrh oil, and I'm like, it's not me. I'm like, I'm smelling her couch. I'm smelling my coat. I think it was like November time, and I'm smelling her blanket, and I'm like, I cannot figure out where this smell's coming from, but it's like hovering right here in front of me. So it's called Claire Olfians. Or Claire there's another name for it, I can always butcher it. Basically phantom smells. You're smelling smells that nobody else can smell. And my friend comes up finally, and I said, come here. Come over here. Do you smell like a banana liqueur, like a banana rum? She's like, girl, that's all you. She's like, you have all the Claires? All I've got is clairaudience. I'm like, I was just looking at this doll, and then I connected with her, and then I smelled this alcohol, and so I messaged the keeper that was adopting her out, and I asked her if she gave like any sort of spirits or whatever to the vessels for like offerings. And she said she did. And I explained to her what I was experiencing or whatever. And she's like, oh, that is so cool. And then I ended up adopting her. I don't actually have her in the room with me. She's downstairs on the mantle, but yeah. And that was like a start of something that is totally addicting for me. I love, I don't want to say collect spirits, because I don't think of them as something I collect. They're like, I don't know how to explain it. They're like family for me. Because I feel like I'm meant to help them tell their story, and then eventually, when they're ready to move on, I do have did I think I would adopt these? I honestly never had any intentions of ever adopting vessels. Okay, so ironically, earlier in the year, before November, I went to Rock Island Paracon in Illinois, and Patty Negri was there selling her Dollcraft book, which she just published. And she was doing like a gallery, and that's when the Ward Museum was there with Annabelle and everything. And I just happened to purchase her book for poops and giggles. I had to like buy her book and like a few other things or whatever, or it was like an option to buy her book, I can't remember, to get like some like extra raffle tickets for something, to put in for something, I can't remember. So ironically, I had a book on haunted dolls and Poppets, so Poppet Magic by Patty Negri. And I really had no intention of ever buying haunted vessels. It wasn't even a thought of mine. So having adopted this haunted vessel, I was like, I know nothing about having a haunted vessel. I don't know how to take care of one. And then it dawned on me, I had already purchased a book about keeping a haunted vessel. What to do, everything. Like Patty Negri spells it out, everything. It was kind of ironic that I had purchased this book like a few months before. Like, I intended on reading her book, but not in the way of like helping me keep like spirited vessels. Now look at me. I've got over 40. And I would say I've adopted 8 of those, and the rest I have found on my own or were given to me. So yeah, I never thought. I don't know. So, is there any other questions? Is Dollcraft on Amazon? I believe so. I think you can get it on Amazon. Oh, let me see. I know you can get it on her website. I'm pretty sure you can get it on Amazon. Oh, yeah. Something just tickled the bottom of my foot, and it was not my cat. Yeah, you can get it on. Yes, you can get it on Amazon. Yeah, I'll show you what it looks like. Well, my sister was just calling me. Um. Oh, shoot. My sister is currently sending me messages about vessels. She said, oh, goodness gracious. I might have some vessels coming my way. So on another note, I've had a pair of vessels given to me, or called, I've had to pick up from a metaphysical shop locally that our family dropped off because one of them was scratching. Scratching does not always mean negative entities, by the way. The child spirit attached to the doll was trying to get attention from the live child. The mother dropped them off at the metaphysical shop. They covered them in salt, stuck them in a closet till I could pick them up. When I picked them up, I didn't know that both the vessels had attachments to it because the little girl had hidden her energy really well. But when I picked up the little boy spirit, it was like touching a battery. It was like electricity from my hand all the way down to my elbow. I put him back in the bag, and I still felt it for probably a good 20 minutes after I put him in the bag and drove home. And when I get my vessels home, I always set boundaries and rules. They have a strict... Sorry, I can hear my children talking. A strict set of rules set for them. If they don't follow the rules, they go in like a timeout. If they draw my energy, I can put I put a salt circle around them. I put amethyst, some selenite. So in the Dollcraft book, she does go over ways to dampen vessels, just in case they are pulling on your energy until they get used to you and the energy of the home. But it's really important that you set boundaries. But yeah. But I've never had any problems with the vessels that I had brought home from the metaphysical shop. In fact, the little boy, he did apologize. But I've acknowledged them. I've spoken with them. I've learned quite a bit of their story, actually. But I've also told them that it's okay to have the feelings that they're having. You know, they're angry and they're sad. And there's a lot of like feelings and things that they have from their passing that they haven't dealt with. So when you're a sensitive, or you have a child that's a sensitive, like lots of children can see and feel things that adults can't, because they haven't locked all of their abilities away. And so they tend to see and feel more activity. They don't understand. So these vessels were trying to get to be heard, to be seen. And this poor little child, I don't know if it was a boy or girl, but they were just scared. Yeah, that's a really good book to get. Dollcraft is a really good book to get. I've noticed a lot of Etsy spirit keepers shops or whatever, they have like a PDF, their own version of how to keep a spirit vessel. You can buy for like $1 or whatever. But I like Patty Negri's book. I think it's a good resource. But yeah, any other questions? I don't know what else to share about me. I'm being touched again. I can show you who's touching me. You guys want to see who's touching me? She is not a human spirit. She's a shapeshifter spirit. April's got her light on. This is Nixara, or Nix. She likes to be called Nix for short. Oh, she stopped touching me. She likes to communicate with mag-light flashlights. So, and she's been using them a lot since we got back. I took her to Edinburgh with me. So she's been using her flashlight a lot. Like a lot. Like she turned it on this morning when I picked her up. She told me the spirits at Edinburgh were scared of her. Yeah, she just said they wouldn't approach me. Or Zell, because I took Zell with us too. Zell is my first haunted vessel. I do not have her up here with me though. She said, we kept you really protected while you slept. We wouldn't let them in the room while you slept. She says, I am your companion and I protect you. when I first got her, she says hi. Hi, Nixara. She says hi. When I first got her, she made me nauseous. She was listed as a darker spirit. I don't think she's dark at all. I think she's just more ancient because she's not a human spirit. I heard yes. I hear goddess. She's more linked to a goddess. But she's yeah, she made me nauseous and very dizzy when I first got her. It took me like a day to get used to her energy. It's pretty interesting. She knocks this all the time on my walls, makes things creak and stuff. And she likes to flashbang my husband with the flashlight. He said it kind of, he said the other night when I first got home and I went to sleep, she was turning the flashlight on when he was the only one awake. He said it kind of freaked him out a little bit. He's still skeptic. So, apparently he had watched something creepy on YouTube, which I didn't know that. And so her turning the flashlight on when I was asleep kind of messed with him a little bit. So, I think it's kind of funny. She just told me she likes messing with him. She says he deserves it. Okay. We're gonna be nice now. I'm gonna sit you down. Oh, my big lady turned on her light. Everybody's turning their lights on. I love it. So I have this big, beautiful native doll. She her name is Karina. She has a Hispanic that's something I just pulled on my skirt. She is 18 years old. She died in the 1940s. She's Hispanic. She's from Mexico. She turned her light on. She never turns her light on. I need to buy her a rosary. I owe her a rosary. She's Catholic. But yeah. Excuse me, I gotta put some chapstick on. But anyways, I would show you her. She's a very big doll. She turned her light on now. And April turned her light on. Everybody's been turning their lights on since I got home. I gotta get some more lights though. And Karina. This Karina. Karina waited for me. I found Karina at an estate sale type store place, whatever you want to call them. So what they do is they go in and they buy people's belongings that they've passed. So they go into estate sales and buy things. I also bought a little Japanese geisha doll that belonged to a little Japanese lady who had no family. And I believe that little lady is attached to that doll. She couldn't tell me her name, or she tried to tell me her name. It was Japanese, and I couldn't really figure it out. Names are hard for me. So I got something close to it. So we picked out a Japanese name together. It's Seche. I'm sure I'm probably butchering it. I don't speak Japanese, but she's just a sweet little lady. But when I went back and I got Karina, I went to where her belongings were at, and then it was just like, because she was with me, and I felt this overwhelming sadness, and I wanted to cry. And then I heard her say, I had all of these, because they were all Japanese, like the pottery, ceramics, just all this beautiful stuff that she had from like the 50s. Yeah, from like the 40s and the 50s. And I heard her say, I had all of these things, and I had no one to share it with. I had all of these things and nobody to share it with. You think about that. You know, and I watch this, and I'm talking this, they have like people's things in there, and I'm talking Time magazine, like the big old Time magazines. Like, this place is like a history capsule. And then I was standing at her stuff, and I didn't hear it, I felt this crazy energy on the other side. So I walked around, and then the lady who owns the place comes around. She's down the other, and she's like, "Hello, are you okay?" And I'm just staring off. You know, if you're a channeler or a psychic, or you got the abilities, and you're feeling something, you kind of get that weird 1,000-yard stare because you're feeling something and you're trying to figure it out. That was me, and I'm like, where's this energy coming from? Because there's so many things there. And when you're trying to pinpoint an object, it's really hard, especially when there's a lot of stuff, especially when you go into like an antique store or like a thrift store. And I'm walking down this aisle. I'm like, I'm fine. I said, I'm just trying to figure out where this energy's come from. And I asked her, I said, can I ask you a question? She said, sure. I said, when you come down this side, I said, do you ever get like a weird feeling, or is there any like weird stuff that happens over here? She goes, yeah. She goes, there's a lot. She goes, I don't like walking back here because it makes me feel creeped out all the time. I said, okay, that makes sense. I said, there's definitely something back here that's got like some sort of energy attached to it. And I'm going to tell you something. There were shelves filled with religious objects. I'm talking about crucifixes, rosaries, statues of Jesus, like a lot of Christian fixtures. And she told me that all of it came from one house. And then I got to this like vintage bubble curio cabinet that had some rosaries in it, and I like some really old rosaries in it, and that's where I pinpointed the energy. Of course, she would have to open up the case for me to actually, because sometimes I have to feel objects. I get better connections that way. If I would have had her open up the case, I guarantee you it would have been one of the rosaries in it. And I think they had a 1930, I think it was a 1930 something Russian something rosary or whatever. It was really pretty, but I was really drawn to it. When I'm really drawn to an object, typically that means it's got an attachment to it. Now, it may not necessarily have an attachment to it. It could be residual energy. Like when somebody puts a lot of energy in it too, it could be residual. You got to think about it. You're holding on to something. I'm not Catholic or any of that sort of stuff, so you count the beads and you're rubbing it in your hands. You're rubbing your energy into it, right? So you're really pushing your energy into it, right? It's like my dad's childhood teddy bear that I have. My dad passed away in 2019. My mom still had this. My mom didn't even know she had this teddy bear that's sitting in her closet. I asked if I could pull it down. I pulled it down, and as soon as I touched it, I felt what it kind of like holding like a 9-volt battery kind of, or like, little shock. Now, my dad is not attached to the bear whatsoever, but it has some of his energy into it. Because you got to think about it. It's his childhood teddy bear. Like, if it's something that he cherished, something that he carried and, like, you know, held on to, and, like, you're putting a lot of energy into that, right? So there's a lot of his residual energy still in that bear. So let me show you something. We gotta move the cat treats, or else we're gonna have a kitty cat in our face. Oh. I gotta move a few things. I decided not to take those headphones with me. What are these 1,000 rounds? So I gotta move these. So this is the teddy bear in question. So this is what we're gonna do. Oh, we need a book. He doesn't set up very high for you guys to see on camera. Okay. Yeah, maybe if he'll sit up. Sit up? Okay. There we go. If you put a K2 in front of him, he'll sit up fine for you. Okay. So this is my dad's teddy bear. This is a K2 or an EMF reader. Did my K2 just go off? I saw my K2 go off. Dad? Oh, I need a drink. I am so sorry. Pardon me. Paul? Dad, could you please touch the K2 meter for me, please? Dad, I just saw you do it. Can you please touch the EMF reader? Bye, kitties. Are you gonna jump in my lap? Let's see if I can get my dad. Let's turn this light down. Okay. Dad, can you please touch the K2 meter? Dad, I can hear you. Dad, are you being a pain? I just heard a knock on the wall. Dad, you like to touch the EMF reader. Why aren't you touching the EMF reader? Okay, well, he's gonna be a turkey. Does my EMF reader need batteries? I'm pretty sure it's fine. Oh, it's working just fine. Interesting. There's a static EMF. What in the world? What? Do you see this? A cat's knocking over the table. What is the world? I know my computer doesn't get off a lot of EMF. Not like my desktop PC. Look at that. I know I got a lot of this. There's somebody right here. Where'd you go? They moved. Where'd you go? Did you see that? They moved. Come back. Oh, there's someone right here. Oh, they moved. Now they're moving away from me. You guys. Okay, now they're moving because I'm finding them. You guys are crazy. They don't want to play the games with me today. I just heard it's not our turn. It's your turn. I can't set off the EMF reader. I want my dad to. Tigger. No, thank you. Dad, can you please just set off the EMF reader one time? And then I'll let you be. Pretty please. Did it just go off? It just went off, didn't it? Can you do it one more time so I can see it? Dad, are you messing with me? I just heard yes. Can you light it up to red? Come on, Dad. Dad, how would you feel if I gave your chopper to Alaric when he was old enough? Light it up to red if you approve of me giving your Honda chopper to Lyric. You know why he's not answering? Because he told me, because he's like, I'm the one that gave you the idea anyways. Oh, now he's responding. Dad. You're a turd. I don't know what to do with you. Dad, how do you feel about Michelle having your Miata? He's like, I don't care. It's just a car. It's just a car. He's like, I can't take it with me. Can't take it with me. Right? Even though he used to joke about being buried with his motorcycle. Well, hey, we finally got some K2 activity from my dad. Man, it's so slow, you old fart. Nothing? Come on. I got him to red one day. We were joking around. But I don't know, he might be busy somewhere else. Yeah. Do you like watching over your grandchildren? Yeah, I don't know. He's coming in and out. I don't know what he's doing. My dad is a spirit guide. He showed me him getting his wings when he switched over. He used to visit me in dreams all the time. And he asks about my son all the time. You guys are best buds, aren't you? It's probably why my son likes Hot Wheels cars. My dad used to be a mechanic in his living days. Always working on something. I don't think my dad's here anymore. I think he left. Oh, prove me wrong. Okay, never mind. It was just very quiet today. Usually he's more interactive than this. I don't know. Anyways. So chaotic attorney, paranormal investigator, spirit keeper, psychic medium, wrangler of children who can't not knock on the door. I can talk about all sorts of fun stuff. I'm gonna be bringing more here to the YouTubes. Tomorrow I'm going to try to channel some of my vessels, answer questions, and then go from there. I will be posting. I don't know if I'm like, maybe I'll do a live. I think I want to do a live about spiritual cleansing, personal, like, self-cleansing, as well as I would like some stories from those of you who have tried to cleanse yourself of, like, attachments or something and it not work, or it did work. So if anybody has any stories they would like to have shared, please send me a message. You can follow me on all my socials. Chaotic Eternity, either with a C or a K. CHAOTIC or TIK Eternity. But I will throw that information up here at the end. But yes, we're gonna talk about cleansings. And I think we're gonna start going over different kinds of spirits. I think that would be great. And then I'm gonna share. I'm being touched again, right here. I am gonna go live. I'm sorry, I wasn't live this last week because I was preparing for Edinburgh. I had to get some stuff done around the home, but also I didn't want to do any channeling because I wanted to like save my energy, so to speak, because it takes a lot of energy to channel or speak with spirit, especially. It's incredibly tiring. I had a heck of a headache Saturday, so it was Friday night that we did our investigation, and Saturday besides having maybe 5 hours of sleep, yeah, it's exhausting. Not only am I pulling in other people's energies and emotions, I'm pulling in live people's energies, I'm pulling in spirit energy, but I'm also putting my energy out. But I also return and I call back, but it's not always not enough. So, and if I have to shielding is also exhausting. Yeah. So I was like trying to really like shield and protect myself. Also, my husband and I, marriage is a contract, right? So when you get married, you're forming a contract with a person. Not just physically on paper, but spiritually, that is a contract, right? So I have channeled my husband's anxiety. He has extreme anxiety. He's a combat veteran. And I can tell when he is going through some extreme anxiety because I end up channeling it, and it's the point where I know when he's having not a good day with his anxiety because I channel it, and I ended up channeling it for 2 days last week. It's another reason why I didn't go live. Because I couldn't catch my breath because I was channeling his anxiety, and it was like a brick was sitting on my chest. It's not a good feeling. And it's not something he can help. That's another thing that I've learned is that I can take people's emotions, or somebody can like vent to me when they're going through something, and what happens is that I transmute their emotions, their feelings, something that they're going through, and it makes them feel better because I take that on. I absorb it because I'm clairsentient first. Clairsentience is feeling, empath. So that's my strongest clair. So I absorb all of that, and it's gotten really strong to the point where I could be miles away from my husband and I take on his anxiety sometimes. And I was really working hard to try to build a psychic wall between us, a dome around me to protect against everything else around me, and it is hard, especially because you have to like actively try to keep all this stuff up all the time, and if you don't and you let it all drop, then it's just like hits you like a semi-truck. So it's exhausting. And he wonders how I just go to sleep so fast at night sometimes. It's not because I just am able to. It's just because I'm so mentally and physically, I'm just so tired all the time because I take on everybody's energies and stuff. But anyways, yeah, so we're going to talk about cleansing ourselves, cleansing your spaces, returning energies, and all that stuff. Right, Dad? I'm live. Why are you knocking on my door? Good night. Do you need a hug? Okay, I have to give my son a hug. So you only had 2 hours of sleep. Oh, it's because you guys aren't used to going to bed early. Alright. I'll do this for you, but you gotta stop knocking on the door when I'm live, mister. In the morning. Ugh. It's really hard to say no to that child. You can't say no. Alright, friends. But yes. Okay. Did I cover everything? I don't know. Probably not. So, drink your water. Dad agrees. The K2 and off. Drink your water. This dang teddy bear. Go outside and ground. Always, always, always. Self-care, 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 because that's important. Because you can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself first. And yes, ground, ground, ground. I was also told that if you can't go outside and ground, I was told to lay on your belly on your bed. And stay hydrated. Hydrating is also another good way of grounding, drinking water. Keeping your feet flat on the ground helps you ground. What's another thing? Oh, feet on the ground, flat. So like even if you're like in a chair or whatever. I did, yes. So feet on the flat, feet flat on the ground, and then if you like stomp your feet really fast, you don't have to like stomp them, but whatever. Like move your feet really fast. That's supposed to help you ground. You can use stuff like selenite. Selenite is a self-cleansing stone, so this is something you don't have to put out to cleanse in like moonlight, but you can use it to ground yourself. Tourmaline, I can't even talk. So this is black tourmaline and selenite. Will help you ground. But anyways, ground, 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 ground. Yes, put your hands in the dirt. Dirt is good for you. But anyways, more on that later. That'll probably be part of my cleansing video next. But if you guys have any stories about cleansings that didn't work out, or cleansings that did, other ways of cleansing, leave me a message. Any of my socials would work. Otherwise, I'm going to end the stream here. Have a wonderful evening. And if you want me to channel for you, you guys can catch me on TikTok. I'm going to be doing those on TikTok. I'm not sure if I'll do that on YouTube's. It just depends on viewers and such. So, have a wonderful evening.